Forgotten houses are a specific form of Urbex we have always wanted to try, and today was going to be our first attempt. Around the rural side of the UK there are many derelict homes, simply left by the owner due to many obscure circumstances. In this episode we are exploring two different sites that have a distinct contrast to each other. Be prepared to watch us make multiple fascinating discoveries over what interesting remnants were left behind. One of the reasons we hadn't visited one of these vacant homes yet is that they tend to be in secluded areas, places that is inaccessible to our normal public transport. However, today we had a lift straight to our first abandonment, literally right outside it. Firstly, we ventured inside the small bungalow the residents would live inside. We hadn't heard much good about it, and it wasn't the reason we were visiting this place. Once inside, our beliefs were confirmed. The little building was empty and quite destroyed. In the house's garage was the first abandoned car of our visit. You could see where scrappers had nicked metal in the engine from it. The rest of the site consists of many long sheds, each with unique surprises waiting for us. One key find we made in the house was papers, tons of them, filled with notes about cars and parts for them. Although there is little history on this isolated location, we can probably work out that its last owner was a massive fan of cars, collecting them to work on. These shelves were for eggs, which also tells us that the man was a farmer. Cages could also be seen, most likely to be for the chickens. Two retro Morris cars sat in a depressing state in one of the sheds, again with their windows smashed and the majority of their internals stripped out. In addition, this shed also featured an old tractor that looked like it hadn't been used in a very long time. Although the cars were great to see, we found it very strange that such classic cars hadn't been sold, at least when the site became disused. Perhaps not many people knew of the owner or his belongings. With that, we had seen all this little spot had to offer. Even though it had some cool features, we wouldn't normally cover a site like this, but it is walking distance from another abandoned home that we were very intrigued by. Compared to the first house, our second one isn't anywhere near as secluded, so we had to quickly access it before we were spotted by locals.
Wow. This is amazing.
We were astonished by the lack of damage so far. You could tell by certain objects like the rotary telephone how long it's been since someone occupied the premises.
stuff that's out isn't even like everything. All these drawers are fully stocked. It was left completely untouched by whoever was left here. Look at that. Sellotape's not even been used up. Oh, no way. Even though you know they're just used for cooking, it's still a bit weird to find knives anywhere.
The darkness made the scene feel quite eerie, like walking through a normal house with layers of dust added on. We spent what felt like an age in every room, looking through as much as we could, hoping to learn about the past occupants. The living room was filled with ivy that had crept through a window, showing how long the building has been disused. There were signs that whoever had lived here had begun to pack up at some point. Many items had been placed into bin bags and dumped near the door, as if ready to be picked up by a moving van. A gas mask was an object we didn't expect to see at all, casually hung near the door like a usual everyday activity. From the furniture still here, we reckon an older couple had lived here, perhaps with visits from their grandson.
Really weird how everything here links, like this boy obviously had this car and he didn't take it wherever he went or whatever happened to him. This little baby could be that boy. Everything is linked. It's so weird.
Stacks upon stacks of unopened letters sat by the door, giving the impression that people may have not realised this house was vacant from the outside. From previous explorers, we know that the newspaper coverings on the windows were fitted relatively recently. Upstairs, we instantly found 2 shotgun pellets alongside a teddy bear, which was covered in spider webs. There was also many more old artefacts remaining, which meant to us that this place was completely untouched, as nothing had been stolen.
So we keep hearing noises. We don't really know exactly where they're from, but it's kind of creeping us out. This entire explorer has been pretty weird and scary, just because we've never done anything like this before. We've loads of stuff left behind, but we're starting to hear noises and stuff, so I don't know. We're going to keep going, but if we hear anything that really spooks us, we'll probably just leave.
The final room to see was probably the best of them all, as it was filled with interesting remnants from alternate eras. We can learn a lot about the previous residents in the house from what they left behind. For example, this medal we believe to be for war efforts in World War II. Maybe you think that's a bit too far back, but it made sense after one of our next discoveries.
These.
Yeah, let's leave that.
Driving license. From 12th of January 1944. Oh my god.
That passport featured the oldest date we've ever seen in an abandoned building. It is unbelievable that it stayed in such a good condition, being trapped in this deteriorating structure. Following this, we had looked through all of the 2 sites we had planned and set off home. It is unlikely anything will happen to either of these places apart from further decay and destruction, which is sad because both of them seem to be places of great memories for the owners.